Hello. So today on Yoga Chanti, we have two wonderful astrologer ladies, I should say, Sonali and Linda. So Sonali and Linda, do you want to say hi so we can all see you on the camera?
Hi, I'm
Okay.
Sonali.
Hey, Sonali and Linda, how are you doing? You doing okay there?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Linda. Thank you, Sinar, for having us today.
Absolutely. Yep. So we were just chatting before this that we're all doing our own things in life. Linda was trying to control her dog, and then Sonali was trying to figure out things with her room. But we're all just trying to make this happen for a brief chat. So we're all glad we're here. So briefly, while we get into it, I'll help us get started. My first question to most astrologers that I meet is coming from the Kirtan background. What do you all feel? What is your take on fate and how that's impacted? Is it something that's predestined, really, or can it be changed in some process? Because I do hear another school of thought that Kirtan and the whole process like of bhakti, it molds where we go in life. So could you all just share your thoughts? What you'll have on that?
Thanks, Sundar. That was an excellent question because I feel like that's the foremost question that a lot of us have when we are in the pursuit of either even going to God, when we visit a temple and when we visit an astrologer, because the
Mm.
one common thing that the common underlying sort of topic I've heard from a lot of astrologers is that you'll never find a perfectly happy person who's like rich and everything's going great in their relationship. They barely ever visit the astrologer. They could go to a bar, they could go to a lot of places, but they don't necessarily go to an astrologer, just like you do not go to a doctor when you are in perfect health.
In perfect
So,
health, right? Right. I was just going to say that when you're doing good, there's no reason to visit a doctor. When things are
exactly. So
going
the
bad, that's when you start thinking.
Yes, exactly. So the moment you go to an astrologer, the premise is that there's something which is like seriously wrong in your life, or you're just looking for answers, or you're going through some challenges that you need a resolution, or at least some kind of direction that you're
Hmm.
seeking from someone who has knowledge of the Vedic scriptures in terms of Eastern astrology, which
Mm.
comes from the word Jyotish, which means it's the divine knowledge given by God Himself, and
Hmm.
it's a way to navigate our lives better. So, just
Oh,
to
it's
get
like
back.
it's like a compass, you mean? Something like a compass.
Exactly.
Okay.
Something like Google Maps, where you're
Mm.
getting better directions of how far the place is, how long it's going to take you, what's the best mode of transportation. Should
Hmm.
you, use your friends for help? Should you reach out to a guru, or should you just like go within yourself and reach out to God? So, something along those lines, like what is the best ammunition to tackle it, and then what is the best kind of you know paths you need to take in meeting those challenges in your life, so
Okay.
that you can mitigate some of the pain along the way.
Great.
So
Great.
to
Great,
get
Sonali.
back
So
to
yeah.
your original question,
Hmm.
in terms of like, can you really change fate? And of course, a lot of it's a very well loved topic amongst astrology. So the premise of Vedic astrology is that whatever we are going through in our lives currently is intrinsically a function of our past karma, right?
I
And we
see.
cannot really go back into our past karma
Hmm.
ever. We just like we can't go back into our past lives or even our present past lives.
So what's
To
done is done. So you got to live with it. You gotta.
Exactly. We have to
Okay.
live with it, but the beauty of astrology is, and the beauty of faith, more importantly, is that
Hmm.
you cannot change your past karma, but you can change yourself. So
Hmm.
you can, uh, we can change, we can't change certain events in our life
Hmm.
based on the intensity of the good or the bad karma we've done in the past. But
Hmm.
what we could do is change our reaction to those events in our lives, and so we can prevent it from getting worse, or we can actually mitigate a lot of the pain or the challenges. And the other theory that is shared in Vedic astrology, it's actually a very spiritual science, so it
Hmm.
always connects to the power of God overpowering all events in your life. And the premise of it is that when you surrender yourself with true devotion to God, nothing else matters. Your way of thinking changes. Your past karma can actually be changed through the power of the fifth house. So the power
Oh,
of the
okay. So yeah. So one second there, Sonali. That's an extremely important point you brought up there. So you're saying that it is possible to change your destiny
yes,
as
yes,
written. Okay. So
to a
mhm,
certain
go
extent,
on.
because there are three kinds of past karma which determine our present lives. One is like prarabdha karma, which is like, sort of challenges you have to meet and you
Mhm.
cannot really escape it, because that is a road to evolution. So the premise is that
Like
we've
working,
come
for
in.
instance, and doing the laundry, paying the bills.
Yes, and
Those
also
are
like taking care of your enemies that come along the way.
taking
um
care, as in like really taking care of them, like once once and for all,
Well,
or
actually, if you do reach a certain level of higher plane of thinking, you actually
Mhm.
learn to serve your enemies. You don't
I
think
see.
of them as enemies anymore. You think of them as actually challenges which are shaping the future of your
Mm.
current life.
Okay, so
So
you mean handle the fact that enemies and opposing and forces are coming into your life. How do you
yes,
handle
and
that
it could be a very
personally?
positive thing. So, for example, I'll give you a very good example. If you read the biology, if you even step aside from astrology and you read a lot of the books of like inventors, the biggest people who made a lot of money, you will see that they actually had very difficult lives or very difficult situations,
Hmm.
where they had like a lot of challenges that ordinary people do not face. And then in the process of having the right attitude to overcoming the challenges, they actually invented something new. Like, you know what they say, like, necessity is the mother of invention.
Hmm. Okay, so
So
they
the
found
very
something
premise
that
of
works for them.
astrology is
Hmm.
you're changing your attitude to your challenges, you're changing your attitude to your enemies, and you're recognizing that that enemy is not just an evil force which has a personal vendetta against you. It's
Hmm.
just something that fate has brought along so that you can, the way you react to it and the way you respond to it. So in astrology we always learn by learning the astrological weather around us. We learn to navigate these challenges, and we constantly tell ourselves that, maybe this, maybe if I do not react to this situation, but I learn to
Hmm.
respond to this situation, there's a huge difference between the two. And the moment you have a responsive approach, you learn to take it in a positive way, and you learn to actually use those challenges to get further in your life, further in the sense that you could use it to your advantage to come
Hmm.
up, to be more creative,
To move
and to
forward in
actually,
life in the positive
yeah, or
aspects. Yeah.
evolve yourself in whatever sphere your karma or your fate demands. So,
Oh, nice. Okay.
so the bottom
So you
line,
mentioned react versus respond, right? I
exactly.
like that point. So you don't react, but then you just respond in the sense you change what needs to be done at your end, and then don't directly like knee jerk, as we say, like knee jerk reaction, right? So don't react.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I feel like astrology here has a very powerful role to play, because astrology is a tool of awareness, just like religion and spirituality makes you more aware. It makes you go within yourself
Mm,
and kind of understand that it's all a result of who you are. Everybody you meet, everybody, the environment around you is a reflection of who you are. And
mm,
astrology teaches the exact same thing, that if you kind of chant, for example, that's related to your fifth house. So the fifth house is also a house of purva punya, which means the
Ah,
all the good deeds you did in the past and what you're going to enjoy the fruits of in your present life. So
nice.
by
So,
chanting,
mm-hmm.
you can actually increase the asset sides of your balance sheet. So you
Oh,
can't go
okay.
back into your past, but by chanting, you can actually make your fifth house more powerful. And so by making your fifth house more powerful, you're actually creating more assets and you're creating more good karma. And
In
so
your
that
life, more
good,
good,
yes,
more plus than the negative part, more positive than
exactly.
negative.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And so,
so for someone like me, Sonali, it's for a layman, you can consider me as a layman in astrology, but then I do hear about this, how to change our lives so that way we can use the
mhm,
positives. And then you touched upon the other point that resonated with me was, since we all know each other from coming to the Thursday night Kirtan. Could you talk about that for a second, and then I'll go to Linda and come back to you, Sonali. So I know I met Linda, and we noticed she has her wonderful dog in the background. So it's great. So you want to tell us a little bit, Linda, about the kirtan and what your thoughts are?
Yes, thank you, Sundar and Sonali. Those are some wonderful points that you made. So for me, kirtan is a way to connect with God, um, and it also it uh, it's actually like connecting in a way that um
I mean,
you're going
connection as in like how they say like kirtan, as in through our inner selves. Because
to
I
inner.
know you mentioned to me about going north in your life.
Yes, yes, really connecting to your inner self. And
Mm,
astrology is actually also a way to connect to God, because at birth we're actually given a blueprint,
mm,
uh, but most people don't know about the intricacies of astrology. Um, and that astrology is actually a language.
mm-hmm.
Um, there are so
It's a
many.
science, basically. It's a science, right? It's a science. It has a language. Yeah. I think your dog agrees.
yeah,
She's saying yes.
Linda's
Yes,
dog
that
is
sounds right.
agreeing to
I
what we're
think
saying.
she agrees. Yes.
He agrees.
Yes. So yeah, it's actually a very it, it's scientific, and it's also it has its own language.
Mm,
And if we're willing to really understand it on a very deep level, we
mm-hmm.
can actually um, get to the higher self, um, and which is not. I make it sound very easy. It's actually a lifelong process. Um, but by getting to the higher self, we're connecting with God in a sense, because um, we're given all these different challenges in life,
Uh-huh.
uh, just to, well, I mean, it's very complicated, but we have karma, we have, we have things that we have to go through,
Mm-hmm.
in order to get to like a higher realization. And um, by really examining your chart, your personal chart, or having an astrologer examine your personal chart, you can really get a better understanding of what's going on um, in your life, and high, how to attain a higher level of understanding.
Nice, nice. I like that, Linda. Very, very, very well put. And yeah, so I think we've had chats before on this, and I remember you mentioning how all this ties into to staying positive and going north in your life. So yeah, we'll come to these points and delve into them in our subsequent sessions when we take a deep dive into it. But for now, I've come away with a few important points that we spoke about already, and I can see that each of these is so huge, and I keep having to pull you both away from the discussion. But yeah, so one of like Sonali mentioned, right? So changing the respond versus react, and you mentioned changing the blueprint of destiny that we are born with. So I like the way you put that. And then of course there's the you know the planetary influences and everything that we have. um, and I'd like to also say that that Linda comes with a Western approach to astrology, so she has a lot of knowledge in the various spheres there, so that we'll get into. And Sonali has an Eastern mix into it, so she has a nice, interesting twist in that regard. So I think with that being said, Sonali, did you have anything else to say before we wrap up for today?
No, I just wanted to say that in from coming from the Eastern astrology side of it, uh, I highly recommend, even like if you're not going to an astrologer,
Hmm.
if you're just trying to make your life better, to at least be very involved in chanting and whatever religious background people come, just to go.
Sorry, I had to pause the recording for a second there. Go ahead.
No worries. So, whatever religious background someone comes from, because faith within us has the power to change a lot of things, like chanting, for example.
Hmm.
Like I mentioned, it has the power of changing your second house, which controls the speech. So we learned by chanting over and over again, we are actually
Hmm.
improving the money matters in our house
Hmm.
unknowingly, but you have to do it with a true sense of devotion. And just having visited the Bhakti Center, I can say that even like looking at with true devotion on the image of Krishna, that itself teaches you a lot. Because one example I'll give is that Krishna always plays the flute, and if you like really observe on it, that's like a message to always keep your speech sweet.
Hmm.
And goes back to my earlier point of not reacting and being responsive. So the moment we kind of stop reacting to the negativity in our environment, and we always make it a point to put out into the universe sweet speech, sweet actions. The universe always responds by giving us positive back. It's like uh,
Hmm.
put it's you get a reflection of what you put out in the universe. So it's a matter of like gradually you're learning to control the negativity around you, control your mind, and just put positivity out there, and it's bound to come back in some shape or form.
So
And the
what goes
last thing,
around comes around. It's
exactly,
like a
that's the
boomerang.
universal law of nature as well as astrology.
Hmm.
And the third thing I would want to say is that any temple you go to, especially my thoughts on coming to the Bhakti Center was like, you're actually activating your 11th house, because through the power of satsang, 11th house stands for your immediate friends, your surrounding group activities. And so you're actually improving your association and the power of association. Even if you read like books on career, books on profession, it's very strong because it changes you from within and from without.
Awesome. So 11th house is for Kirtan, which changes you, within and without. And then I already had some points from when we spoke before about the second house, which we'll be going into detail. And you alluded to that, saying the unknowingly our financial situation might actually be improving. So that's really good. I mean, I like to unknowingly have my bank balance go up.
Yeah, and it doesn't require that much effort. You don't have a boss telling you how to chant.
Mm,
You just have to do it from within the heart, and it's a beautiful way, and you're doing it in a group setting. So it's an awesome way of just improving your chart altogether.
that's great. I'm all ears for this. So yeah, so we'll be covering more of this. So thank you, Sonali, and thanks, Linda, uh, and a thank you to your dog for staying patient through our recording. Is she doing okay there?
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, she's doing great, but I think she's ready for her walk now.
Ready for a walk? She wants to change the blueprint in her life. We need
Does.
to. we need to take a walk now. We need to take a walk. With that being said, thank you, Linda, and thanks again, Sonali. Appreciate all your
Thanks
inputs.
so much, Sundar, for bringing it all together. It's like great, great platform.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.